Okay guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, subscribe. I was just watching, the video topic today is going to be degenerate femininity and why exactly it denies reality and therefore is an existential threat to civilization. But I want to just start off the video with acknowledging how absurd it is, how ridiculous it is that there are still people in the world who think that Andrew Tate is guilty or repeat that Andrew Tate is guilty of something. Because there have been emergency meetings going on, you know, for months at this point, and every single thing he says constantly in every single emergency meeting is nothing but positive. It's nothing but a positive message. Andrew Tate is so objectively a force for good that the notable part, the interesting part to me is that these people that lie are literally ignoring 100% of data. It's not that it's, opinionated, like, oh, I want higher taxes, I want lower taxes, the, old classic liberal versus conservative argument. It's ignoring 100% of data. And it's not just the Tates, it's a lot of other people on Rumble, it's Elon Musk. The left has deteriorated to such levels of demonization that there's nothing else. There's nothing else going on in their heads besides this person is guilty, we must demonize them. And there are a lot of interesting directions we could go from that, but the most interesting to me is that what makes them enraged by a person is the fact that they are actually embodying reality in some way. Whether that be Trump or Elon Musk or Andrew Tate, they are all hyper-impressive, competent men, objectively so, who embody reality in terms of genius, physical impressiveness, uncontrollable masculinity, saying what you want. All of those things enrage a leftist. All of those things are embodiments for how they're wrong about the world. Anyway, this video I saw last night, and it was so absurd that I thought to myself, okay, what is going on here? And I took some notes. This girl says that Jesus wants her to do OnlyFans. We've heard a girl like this before, but this one hit different for some reason.
Raised Christian, and I believe in Jesus, and I love Jesus. Maybe some of the things I do are sinful and he doesn't support it, but there's also reasons why I do OnlyFans, and he understands that. So I feel like I don't have a bad relationship with Jesus.
This might seem more mild than the other video of the girl openly saying that God wants her to do OnlyFans, but this is actually more insidious in my opinion. I'll explain why.
Well, it doesn't matter how you feel. God's position on sin is one of...
Just because, whoever this guy is, it's useful to hear the immediate male reaction in the moment, so I'm just going to leave this.
Extremity. He is a perfect God, and he demands perfection. It's not this laissez-faire, oh, Jesus knows that I know it's sinful, but I have to do it for now, and I'm just going to spit in his face with my actions, and he'll just forgive me in the end. That's not love. If I had a relationship with somebody and I said I loved them, but I spit in their face with my actions, I go and cheat on them, I do all of these evil things against them, and then I come to them and say, oh, don't worry, babe, I love you. I got eyes only for you. I'm not gonna believe me.
Raised Christian.
So the point he made at the end was actually pretty good. But again, what caught my attention about this video is, so my mind works very analytically, and I think in terms of probabilities and distributions and objective reality, because I place a very high stake and priority in understanding the objective world. And to do that, you have to think rationally, you have to think reasonably, logically, you have to, think in terms of first principles. Elon Musk talks about that all the time. But to see somebody who is so clearly the opposite of that, and then willing to confirm that they are the opposite of that by saying things that are absurd, that is interesting to me. Because then I ask myself, what exactly are they doing in their head, right? What's going on? And I think I've come up with a theorem, an architecture to this thought process, this belief system that so many women subscribe to. When women admit constantly that their predisposition is one of anti-reality and mind haze, diametrically opposed to accountability, this explains why the left preys on them as a result. The concept of being right, like that guy was at the end when he said, in a relationship you wouldn't betray the person that you're with, just like you would not betray the relationship you hypothetically have with God. That concept of being right, because he was right when he said that, that concept of being right is abhorrent to degenerate women because it reminds them that she's subordinate to something other than her chaotic feelings. Much like a tyrant is immensely triggered at getting reminded of a truth that contradicts him. Many of these women that have been bred into hating masculinity are like tyrants, but the world hasn't adjusted to that. They don't realize that. And I'm going to continue to expose this. Guys, let me know. I've been thinking about walking around in like Hollywood Boulevard and where the the stars are on the ground, because there's a lot of insane people there and a lot of feminists, a lot of women that are clearly boss queens, if you know what I'm saying. And maybe I should just ask them very simple questions. I've thought about this, and because the type of questions that I would ask are a lot higher resolution than these questions that are asked these women, and I feel like the differential between a truly logical question and their ability to contend with it would be more revealing than their question, just their inability to contend with a question. When a woman like this faces reality, you notice it's like a deer in the headlights, and you think to yourself, or at least I do, how is it possible this creature has not valued or prioritized objective reality even once in her thought process? Because what she said is the opposite of the truth. So think about it. If she prioritized objective reality even by 1%, then she would not have ended up where she ended up, much less 10% or 40% or 50%. Now, that is because women who are taught to hate masculinity have no way, and I mean technically no way, of connecting with reality. And they do go insane and will hold positions that they will profess with a straight face that are blatantly absurd and literally the inverse of reality. An example of that is, Jesus wants me to do pornography. And again, because I think statistically, in terms of distributions and averages, etc., it is statistically almost impossible to end up at a conclusion which is the opposite of truth unless you are telling yourself an anti-truth story, an anti-truth narrative, an anti-truth architecture, however you want to formulate that. Since telling an anti-truth story doesn't come naturally in a comprehensible world that rewards truth, right? It's comprehensible because we can do science, because Socrates discovered reason, because people realized that a society built on laws and morality and understanding the liberty of an individual and discovering the individual is all worthwhile. But to reach the opposite of the truth, which is statistically impossible, you have to tell yourself an anti-truth story that doesn't come naturally because the world is comprehensible. And to do that, you must be ultimately resentful. This is why the left first teaches women to reject masculinity and then hold resentment for everything coherent. Because women, their predispositions in terms of psychological substrates have not really changed over the last couple hundred years, I think. At least the data doesn't suggest that it has. What has changed is that women have been taught to reject masculinity, to not get married, to not want to have kids, to label any form of masculine authority as oppression, to label the masculine spirit as toxic. And so what this does is it changes the way women interface with reality. Because for 99.9% of human history, it has always been man and woman together create a union and face reality. But now it's just woman is boss queen, buys soy latte, thinks she's facing reality. And you see examples of this everywhere, like this, just another example. Climate justice means free Palestine. They are aware and proud of the fact that their statements are orthogonal to reality. They are glad that what they say is anti-truth because it expresses the resentment they hold for objective reality. Guys, my videos are being censored on YouTube. I'm going to put this up, and be sure to like the video. It helps the video be seen by more people. I'm going to try to keep it short. And I'm also going to upload this on X. So follow me on X as well. I'm also being censored on X because a lot of the old algorithms are still in place. But I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to continue. And this is only the beginning of the channel. I know that Joe Rogan did like podcasting for 5 years in a row before he actually got big. Or before he made any money, rather. So, yeah. The mission that we're fighting here is just too important. The broken left-wing ideology is an existential threat to civilization. Subscribe to the channel, guys.